She's starting this and then she's gonna start the other this and that. So this and that. And are we fairly confident that you won't have to take notes, minutes, back up?
Yes.
Nothing to. Her name's at the end of the month. Yeah, the recording secretary, help me out, what's her name? I can't remember her name. I'm like. Right at the end of,
At the end of it,
yeah,
Caitlin just said.
yeah, okay, then, yeah. I don't remember that because,
Caitlin Duquette.
yeah, it's spelled differently than my daughter's name, but I thought her name Caitlin, which I should remember. Yeah, so Caitlin, when, the time we had to come up with the best memory of this meeting, which was basically you, Hannah, was Caitlin not? Or she just takes it off the minute?
Technical yeah.
Right, but
just
she-
takes the notes.
Oh, okay, I thought she was
recordings,
sometimes
and then
listen in on
the
them and
Zoom wasn't
backed
working,
herself up with that.
and something went wrong in there, so even though we were recording in there and relying on that, there was some technical issue. I don't know, some spark went through something and screwed up a bunch of
It's like
stuff.
Watergate all over
Bunch of
again,
stuff.
6 minutes of missing tapes and then this one's not. Okay, all right, let's open the meeting up, welcome 1 and 2 representatives of the public in the room or. And those many people online, who may or may not be on cable. This is the Bellingham Conservation Commission meeting for September 10th at the Municipal Center. And we will start off by jumping right into the first item on the agenda, the most important one, of course. 175 North Street. This is a continued hearing for a notice of intent for 175 North Street Lot A, amendment to a order of conditions for the alteration of a buffer zone to the BBW. The applicant is James McGrath, 175 North Street, and the representative tonight is William Halsing from Land Planning Inc. Mr. Halsing, come right up. Oh, there you are.
Oh, good evening.
You snuck right up. Okay, welcome. So we've had the request in to alter the entrance. How many feet? Couple, 20 feet, 15 feet? 15 feet. I won't say what direction. Westward, is it westward on North Street?
Oh, leftly.
To the left, to the left as you're facing the driveway.
Yes,
To have a better line of sight for safety, for leaving and entering, is that the correct reason?
correct. Yeah, after the site got cleared, everyone started looking at it. I went out and looked myself, just by moving the driveway that distance. You can look to the east or the left facing out and make a safe, make it safe for traffic.
Okay.
But we originally had it, there's a real bad sight distance problem. There's an embankment on the side of the road, plus the road kind of has a crown in it.
I won't ask what changed on the road or in that embankment, that the previous location of the driveway wasn't figured out when somebody stood there and surveyed the driveway, but. Yeah, be it as it may, that's the request. The group, this was heard last meeting, and were we looking for any additional change on the plans, Hannah? To reflect the request? I thought there was something else that we were waiting for after the last meeting that we continued to this meeting
The
for.
last meeting, it wasn't continued, so this is the first hearing for this.
So see hearing this, and I thought we
Okay, so
talked about it. I
that was
thought
my, right, so that was just a discussion on whether to hear it as an amendment, so that is my screw up.
Well, no, my lack of memory too, because that was discussion, it wasn't actually an item on the here. Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
it wasn't a public hearing because it hadn't been opened yet.
So- Having remembered that now correctly, to caught ourselves up, so to speak, why don't you just describe the project for the public record, Bill?
Okay. The rest of the project exists as proposed. Change from the driveway to the west about 15 feet to improve the sight distance. In doing that, we also are doing a riprap embankment next to the driveway. So we don't have any, so
To the right as you face it, just so we're clear.
to the left as you face it.
To the left, on the side, you want to move in that direction.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we keep all the grading out of the 25-foot buffer zone. About 16 feet away, driveway, I think it's like a little further away. Yeah, the driveway itself, we go 30 feet away from the edge of wetlands.
How wide is the driveway?
Yeah, 10, 12 feet, something like that. I wasn't prepared for that question, but that's usually what we make them.
It looks to be moved more than 15, but you're moving it.
More than the width of the on the
driveway.
plan, if the plan is in scale.
That's not even bad.
Which,
I would have expected it to overlap.
Yeah. Plus I drew it a little narrower.
You mean you freehand drew this? You didn't just do it off of some GIS measurements that are? So the 30 that's in red, just above the 94.95 feet, is that the 30 feet you're referring to from?
Yep.
Because it doesn't say where it's from and to. I'm just interpreting that it's right on top of the 302 grade line, elevation line.
Yeah, the closest point of the driveway would be 30 feet from
Oh, I
the,
see, there are two arrows, one on either side of it. So
From the
then-
driveway or from the riprap?
the edge of driveway would be 30 feet from the wetland flag, the closest one. And the riprap would be 26.
So it's 4 feet.
Oh, yeah, label 26.
There must be 26 feet from the UW, the closest point, okay, so it's the reference, okay.
And see, we had drawn the driveway as 10 feet wide.
That makes sense.
So 10 feet wide, there's a little clear area just right with the foot mark is about 95 feet. So that's about 5 feet maybe, and this combination is about 15 feet.
That's 10 feet, that's 5 feet. So not the center point of the driveway didn't move. The left point of the driveway moved a whole 15 feet. to
Yeah, the whole thing shifts, correct.
Well, no, what you just said is not what he just said. You said the whole thing shifts, he's saying that we just expanded it 15 feet to the left and you're cutting off the center line, is that what you're saying?
So I'm trying to account for the gap in between the original proposed versus the new proposed.
There's 5 feet in between.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
Okay, so you are moving the entirety of it over.
Yes, the entirety up to the curve there. Drew it in red, so.
Yeah, all right, so we're consistently saying something. Okay. Um. Anything else you want to point out before, see if there's any questions? On this latest version?
I think this is the gist of it. And certainly to the right where the driveway was proposed, that can be revegetated.
You've got a proposal for that or details anywhere?
We did not put details on this. I assume it's gonna happen in the enforcement order.
Okay. Probably correct assumption, so,
Did you see something like that last time?
Yeah, so
That
that'll
was
be,
just square footage.
they, because after you guys decided we'd rather hear it as an amendment and then an enforcement order, they just took all the restoration stuff off of this plan, just to keep it kind of clean.
okay. Okay.
Well,
So
the restoration is not resolved yet.
Correct, yep,
it would have to be.
so that'll be
the enforcement order.
enforcement order.
Okay, so if I'm correct, if I'm wrong, we would want to vote on the amendment to the original NOI for moving the driveway and then,
And then close,
and
and then,
then open and discuss or
yeah, it would just be a discussion.
discuss the enforcement. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so if there are any questions, please bring them forward now, people, about this proposed amendment.
That area already cleared?
Part of it, yeah.
But
Any,
we're-
any trees coming down that still need to be remain, or is it just brush? It's pretty much just brush around the
Yeah,
line.
it's all brush.
I've tried a few times there.
Bill, what is the scale of this drawing?
It is a 40 scale.
You don't put that on your drawings?
Yeah, when I reviewed it today, I totally missed knowing we put a bar scale on the drawing. Sorry about that one.
Barring that, is there any?
Well, it's.
It's been 9 minutes, Mike.
All right, slow down. Keep up. Okay, any other questions? Looking at the gender non-reflective side of the room. In other words, I'm not talking about gender here, but anybody on this side of the room here, because I've already looked over there and both these people have responded on the commission. Okay, I don't hear any discussion. I will accept a motion.
Motion to accept the alteration as proposed on this.
Amendment.
Amendment as on this drawing is proposed.
Second, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, who wants to, come on, who wants some more? Okay, Nicole, thank you. Second, and any other discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll just ask for voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous vote. Okay, so that takes care of that item on the agenda. Now we would move to open a discussion. It's not, this is an item on the agenda, it's just gonna be a discussion point. about the enforcement order. Where are we with that, Bill, as far as you know?
We were planning to hand over a couple months ago now, and plus Scott Heim did a whole write-up of, you know, the revegetation procedure and the plans to put out there.
Okay, and timing wise, what's the anticipated timing to do this?
Well, I haven't talked to Jim on that, but I do think the fall would be a great time to do the planting.
Usually that's when we recommend, not peak of summer, but as you know, next Monday is the first day of fall.
Yeah.
So Tuesday, maybe? Just kidding.
Yeah, we'll get right
We'll
on.
give them a day. I mean, I'm not rushing them.
It's no hurry.
After all, it's not like it's a violation. Oh, wait, no, it is. Okay, so anyway,
The
so,
site is stable, so.
yes, yeah, there's a lot of bark mulch everywhere.
So kind of where I think we were at with the restoration was, they did send that it should be in the portal, but the alteration plan and then the planting recommendations that they had someone draw up. How I would approach this, if that's sounds good to you guys, is issue the enforcement order as I kind of drafted in the portal, that basically just outlines the notice of violation that we requested that they stake the site out, that work was completed, and then request a restoration plan, and then have a deadline for those plantings to go in. So they did come up with a restoration plan, but I thought it would be prudent for you guys to review it and then potentially vote on that after they make any changes that you would like to see to the one that's currently proposed.
Is that the alteration plan that was in the portal?
Yes, that should be it.
So the first thing that I'm noticing is it has the whole layout where their driveway is 35 feet from the wetland flag and doesn't include the riprap. So it looks like it was moved 5 feet over the line. It should reflect that, and then that area should be updated.
As well as, how's the writing? They put that in with everything.
I think this was I don't think there was an updated restoration plan,
Yeah, we
right,
did.
since, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I.
We left it as submitted.
Yeah, yeah.
for now.
And if we wanted any changes.
All it was.
Wait, yeah, exactly.
Not anymore. This way.
No, I know that. You just had it for a while, so I didn't sign it and got something else.
Okay, so you made note of that, Bill, for the record.
I was actually talking to him. All right.
That's all right. Ariane had a point about the plan.
It has the old driveway, proposed driveway relocation that was discussed at a prior meeting where it's 35 feet off of the wetland flag and it doesn't show the riprap. So I just want that to be
Probably
updated to be consistent with
Yeah.
the one we just voted.
to come over,
We can put the driveway in the current proposed position.
and riprap shown as well.
And
then
it'd be
show
really
restoration
cool.
on the opposite
Yeah,
side.
I can add that in.
It'd be really cool if we could get some restoration on the other side of the driveway too.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
Bill
we'll add
kept
that
in
on.
general terms. I said, what is their plan for that? And he said that's gone into with the enforcement order. Which means it should be reflected in the planting plan that is in the portal or will be put in the planting plan, one or the other, Bill, right?
Yeah, so this is the.
Yeah,
so
we'll
they have
update the plan to address
and
everything.
They have this
Okay.
recommended planting plan that was done by Northeast Ecological Services.
Right.
And to allow members who have not thoroughly reviewed that and knowing that Bill has just said that that's gonna be adjusted to reflect plantings on the right-hand side as well as what Ariane's pointed out, as well as anything else you all spot. I think that we definitely want to continue this to make sure that that's all in place and done, maybe while discussing a timetable. What do people think for a timetable? Fall ideally is coming up and it's a good time to do this. We should have the scope nailed down within 2 weeks at the most by our next meeting, I would think. And then they should be able to implement it soon after that if they want. Yeah.
We wouldn't be continuing it because we're
Right, I just,
discussion right now, but we'd be putting them on the agenda
Right.
for a specific time.
exactly. So additional discussion about timing,
What seems reasonable to you?
he said fall, but
What's, I mean, like,
pretty-
more specific than that,
Before
like,
frost.
Which is
there
what
like
day,
a
did you have that
date of
scheduled for?
when-
I had November 26th.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
So
that.
that was kind of the end of the typical growing season and then.
That's what-
By then.
I mean, you can plant anything as long as the ground isn't frozen.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving the next day.
Potentially.
She doesn't know, I'll tell you.
I mean, I don't have to, I don't think go that day. Can always.
Did Scott make sure
That's
that
a Monday.
And
Thanksgiving is.
these species in these quantities are gonna be at a local nursery?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, we normally get stuff from New England Wetland Plants, we don't expect that stuff, it's usually really good, it's native stuff.
Right.
Of course, they can get it locally too, that's fine.
Like
we
New
do
England
have-
wetland plants, it's like guaranteed that those are like straight species.
Right.
Yeah.
I more meant the nurseries the past 2 or 3 years now have been low stock. Hard to get a hold of things, and this is a larger amount of work to do. I just wanna make sure when we let you loose, you're able to get them all and put them all in.
The only other note that I had kind of forgotten about was, typically, you guys request like having a seed mixture. The Northeast Ecological Services had recommended because of the, kind of thicker wood chip layer, that seeding probably wouldn't do much,
What
and
would you take?
things had probably been, I mean, we saw photos of it earlier in the season and stuff had already been kind of growing back in, so I didn't know if there was any want to like remove any of the mulch layer, or at least some of it, or just leave it.
The problem
or
is
if
the
you had-
mulch layer creates a very, very highly acidic bed that seed will not
Right.
germinate in.
Is it new mulch?
So it was just mulched, basically, when the
It's
trees
mulched.
was cut,
It's
it was
mulched.
mulched and like left as like kind of more erosion control. But
Last 6
because it was
months?
expanded
How long
outside of.
will they cut the stuff down before we?
Beginning of the summer, maybe?
Yes, so it's at least 3 or 4 months.
If it's not compost, it's even worse.
And it is in buffer zone, so it's not in the. It's not in the swamp, but that was just something I wanted to bring up, because I wasn't sure. if you wanted to know any removal of that, or if there were any.
Well, I think-
requests.
I think the number one thing is to have something else growing back in that area, whether it be soil saplings, brush, or grass, or some combination of those, but if the barrier of with the mulch is gonna be preventative, then as much as I would hate to disturb the area more than it's already been disturbed by trees and machines cutting down and everything else, trees coming down and everything, I think it may be worth considering that, although when I was walking it, I thought at least a couple of sections I was walking, I felt like there was maybe 8-10 inches of mulch in certain areas at least. I mean, you're not wading through it, it doesn't, sinking that much, but it felt very like there's a lot of give before you felt anything ground wise. And there were a couple other spots that was almost down to bare ground. So I think the stuff that was chipped on site was just sprayed out all over the area and not evenly distributed, which means that there are probably areas that they're gonna have to clear more to if we're gonna get down to ground level and then do grassy planting. I know there's some pictures, you're looking at pictures for that, yeah. Pictures might be helpful somewhat, but most people, how many people have not been out to that site? Me too, great. Oh, I did. No, you were with me, so Steve, yeah. But Don's seen it, yeah,
There's pictures in here.
yeah, Ariane's looking at some too.
The mulch bed doesn't look that thick anymore.
Knowing that it probably has not been removed, it's probably just,
I think it's spotty.
it's moved around, fading, it doesn't look as fresh, the chips fade, the sunlight, the rain and stuff like that on dirt gets built up on them and stuff, so they sort of blend in on photos and so forth, so I think it's a little hard to tell, but.
Do you remember the edges were, it's almost like we were sitting in a bowl.
Hmm.
The edges were like pile high with,
Well, especially down near the end by the street, but that was probably because he put a barrier up so people would drive off the side of the mulch.
Yeah.
Which I guess he moves or he drives over himself, I don't know how he gets into it, but anyway, so what's the pleasure of the commission, how you want to approach the idea of planting, which is.
I'm fine with the planting plan as is, and I think for future. Site activity, the shrubs and trees are less likely to be accidentally removed by a resident.
Well, the other thing, advantage of, be honest, remember, or I did look at briefly, but the planting plan, it's basically all shrubs and bushes of various sorts, which are acceptable types by themselves. That's part I would trust Nicole or you, Anna, to verify that that was correct, and then somebody had a planting plan once which had some plans that you're like, no, these things aren't appropriate, or make sure this
Yeah.
species, okay, yeah. So if those are acceptable plantings, I like the idea of some shrubs and brushes, right, because you can move the mulch out of the area that immediately where you're planting these things, and know you're getting down into dirt, and if it needs to be a foot away or 2 feet away to help ensure whatever Nicole and or an expert says, to help the acidity, the likelihood of killing the small plant initially, give it a chance to take some root, then they can clear it 3 feet around each one of them or whatever. As opposed to clearing the whole site and moving a machine and grading and pulling up stuff that might be coming up through naturally, you know, limited as it might be. So that's my thoughts, but I'm open to hearing other suggestions.
Are we not getting a planting plan? An actual.
What goes where? It's a good question. You can direct it to the applicant's representative. Are we getting a planting plan as part of the revised things?
We usually do.
We're not planning on a planting plan to say what plant goes where.
Like,
It's pretty well outlined in the description from Northeast.
Well, number of plants, if I
it's
remember,
just the quantity.
and quantity are there, but it doesn't say how many feet apart they're gonna be.
Get something on that. I gotta talk to Scott on that. He's the expert.
Yeah, no, it just shows quantity and the size is height, those are the heights, right? So that's not,
Diameter.
no, they're not playing.
No, that's height.
Must be height, 24 to 36 inches. If you're planting 24 to 36 inch diameter trees, we're happy with that. But good luck with that, bring in crane and, yeah.
I was about to be like, I think there's something wrong.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
height,
those numbers are not.
so what's showing is heights and number, and that's not really sufficient, I think, for this size of a disturbed area, there's an enforcement, or I think we really need to have the applicant make the effort to get us confident that what they have is going into the ground is going in the right areas. I mean, we're not gonna juggle trees around for people, but we do usually get some sort of representative plan, especially when there's a limited number, it's not
Is there
500.
a reason why they did size based on, I mean, I'm a landscape designer, and I've never seen size calculated like that. Is this based on New England wetland stock?
It's not a question that I can answer. I'll let one scientist put that together.
Okay, yeah, because I understand that, like, you know, the natives, they usually are like smaller species because they're easy to transplant and they take better when they're smaller. But that is kind of confusing because you think they're talking about DVH and not height. So if they maybe could clear that up, just so it's on record, like how.
I
thick
can
they-
have put something together on that.
The motivation behind the plan for me is in some of the recent hearings, the planting density and the type in certain areas altered throughout the site based on soil changes and area changes. This particular site has areas that are closer to the wetlands and more, and other areas that are more upland.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would expect that the planting would somewhat change in that area.
Or like, I don't wanna see a situation where, and like, I'm not saying this happened, but. You know, like another recent project where they were trying to squish like 24 trees into like 100 by 100 foot area.
Right,
That was already a wetland and trying to call that replication.
And also like eastern white pine, like red oak, they don't really like wet feet. They're more upland species. They are native, but they're not, I don't consider them wetland species.
it's
I don't know if that's-
interesting the questions that pop up when you're actually looking at a layout plan.
So it won't be.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Well, so it should be okay.
Yeah, the only one I see here that really likes wet feet would be the pepper bush. So it is nice to see kind of where those go, you know?
Yeah.
Just want the planting.
It's a reasonable request, we've had it before for other projects, this is not the first time we're requesting something.
So that will affect the planting schedule.
Well, availability first up, and then, yeah, if we can't find stuff, we can't find it, but also, you're right, if some stuff needs to go in right away versus something else, I don't know, I assume.
All of
they're
these things can be planted as long as the ground isn't frozen,
Right,
because
so
they're
as soon
sitting
as-
in a nursery in a container anyways all winter.
So as they can get the stuff, they don't have to get it all at once or get a certain species before another species because of some scheme ideally. If I was planting it, I'd want to plant the stuff in order from the back forward towards the road, so I'm not walking through an area I just planted to put that one more bush back there that, you know, is the way, not that they're that densely, I assume with the number of plants that I saw on that list, that's a long stretch of road. Are we going, how far up the road is the planting plan gonna go even? I don't know.
Was a bunch of areas.
Yeah, so it's all the areas
Yeah.
there.
Well, it was technically disturbed from the road all the way up to where he wants to put the house,
Yeah.
wider than the driveway was, so it's
Correct.
not
Yeah.
unreasonable to think that, and that was, what, 100 feet?
Oh.
At least, and
Probably
I don't know how many bushes we have there, but if it's like
Yeah.
one every 10 feet.
It
that's
would be
not-
nice to have a plan so we can visualize.
It might be after seeing that on the plan that everybody agrees, this is
Just
pretty
be overlaid
sparse.
on
Yeah,
that
this is
plan.
So in terms of just like timeline wise,
Timeline wise.
how long do you think it would take to get like a planting plan to us for
No
For
way,
their
I
approval.
can't get it to for the next
For the
meeting.
next
It has to
meeting,
be after
okay,
that.
after that,
Yeah.
okay. So just in terms of like issuing the enforcement order. I don't know if it would be prudent to do like first meeting in October and then,
That would be a fair thing.
okay,
How
If it blows up.
No, it's
Okay.
issuing.
We'll shoot figure it out.
but okay,
It's kind of a
So-
busy time of year with everyone.
yeah. So maybe on enforcement order, have a restoration plan submitted by the first meeting in October. And then have, if per this, once the restoration plan is approved, they should be installed in accordance with the approved restoration plan. Planting should be in place by November 26th, 2025. That sounds good.
Sounds
for
good. Well, I
enforcement order.
think by then we'd be looking at frost anyway.
And these species look good too, so you could try to start sourcing them now.
Yeah, get the
you know,
plan,
to
yeah.
Make sure that they have them.
Anything else for discussion?
This instruction clearly identifies different plantings in different areas, so it'd be good to have. I think we're settled on that.
Yeah, understood.
Just a visual. Yeah. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so we need to look to put this on the agenda for the, let me try to make a note on it. when it's-
Well, if we can't do it for the next,
No, the October presumably, so the first meeting in October is the 8th. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, at the Granite Street, Granite Farm Street. Enforcement order, something about that somewhere. That was a while ago. Oh, I thought, yeah, but I had something about, maybe that was it, oh, maybe, yeah, I think Hannah would know, but I'm not know if it's. Okay, so we want to.
Make a motion to put, this project, 175 North Street enforcement order on the agenda for the October 8th meeting.
Second on that, thank you, James. Any other discussion on that? Do a motion for the enforcement order. We have a motion for the enforcement order to be put on the agenda for the evening of
For the
October 8th. 7 PM barring any other changes. Any other discussion? No, here none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, yes, so
Very good.
keep us in touch.
Will do.
Something to look, thanks, Bill.
Do you, want a list of nurseries that you could look into for some natives? Bigelow's is really good for you.
And that means that on November 27th,
Thank you.
we need to make a pilgrimage to that site to see how the plantings have gone.
Want to ask her about?
That's there, and I need nothing else.
Oh,
Something about it?
oh, yes, I have a note here on my calendar for the 8th of October. I wrote it in sometime, the Granite Farm Street enforcement order. Is that when it was due to be finished by? Is that why we remember it in there?
Probably, yeah,
Right.
that would make sense. Yeah.
No, I've been on there for a
Which
long time. I don't know.
they are,
Working on it.
they are working on it, that's what they told me. I'll check in with them this week. It's a good note.
Representative.
Granite Street's the one that we have the planting plan for, they have the representative, yeah, that was the old pasture horse farm.
Oh,
one.
the 8th is when they're supposed to be done.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's, they're done by.
I thought we were
Yeah.
still waiting on the plan.
Yeah.
So what sign? If you haven't already. No, that's okay, no, I,
would say Steve.
oh, Steve has it. Oh, they got to hand it to me, I think it was things in that direction. Okay, yeah, I see Neil's name still on these forms, but that's all right, we can go on eventually. As long as there's room for everybody else who's here to find, Don's not, that's okay. Got no signatures.
Right.
Neil, Nicole.
Next on the agenda is a couple quick ones here. We have a continued meeting, continued meeting for an RDA for the MBTA commuter rail right of way implementing the renewal of the 5-year vegetative management plan, BMP, along the MBTA commuter rail right of way in Bellingham to eliminate, control, and manage vegetation along the ROW. And then we got Pascal as the applicant, and the representative was Matt Donovan from Benesh, and we have a request from the applicant to continue this to October 22nd. As opposed to another meeting date like the 8th. Is that because they have more confidence that they'll want to hear us on the 22nd? Do you have any idea? Or they just picked that date? They didn't say they, no explanation given, okay.
They actually picked the 24th, and I said, that's not a day we need.
You'll be there alone. That's a Friday, and United Nations Day, they get that confused all the time, I know. Okay, that's, all right, so be it. So the applicant has requested it, and
They mean for September 24th.
I don't know, I confirmed October 22nd, and they
Okay.
said, okay. I'm like, all right.
all right, so I'll accept the motion, continue this request to the second. Second, thank you, Pamela. And thank you, James, and we will see if there's any comments, questions, no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, yeah, vote. Next item on the agenda is new hearing, notice of intent. This is actually not, didn't we actually hear this last time? Because we that wasn't discussion with Seth, we actually had it, that one was actually there. Okay, so it's a continued hearing, no big deal, just to see if it's so new. For notice of intent for Lakeview Ave. 65-17, construction of a single family home within the buffer zone to BBW, meaning Silver Lake. Corey Development LLC is the applicant, and Seth LaJoy and Associates from Salem, Mass is the representative. Seth was here last time and spoke about the project. I know that we had some additional comments, questions, but since the applicant is not here, we can't discuss them. And we would just ask this, as they have asked to continue to the September 24th, the next meeting, we will take a motion to do so.
Cool. What was the reason for the continuance?
No reason given, I'm assuming because of that they didn't get everything together.
I know there was Board of Health questions, other things that they were working and gathering, as well as specific stuff maybe for us too, but in any event, yeah, I think it's a reasonable thing for one meeting to continue something. We only heard one meeting before that, it's not like this, but some of these. Thank you, Ari, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Are you here for a particular thing?
380 Lake Street.
Okay, we're coming up to that. So if you wanna come up closer to the front, you don't have to be shy. We'll
I
get right
have
to that.
no idea what I'm doing. This is my first time ever coming to a town meeting or meeting of whatever.
Conservation Commission. yeah.
Conservation Commission, okay.
Town meeting will be
Okay, yeah, sorry.
a short time period down the road, but that's over at the school. Okay, so you are, for the record,
I'm Colleen Riley and I live at 380 Lake Street in Bellingham.
and you're here tonight to talk to us about.
So we had a plan to, or an idea to, put in a pool at our house. We have a pretty big yard. So we thought we have plenty of room. We've had a couple of pool companies come in and take a look. And the, the last company that came in said, you might wanna check out and see like if this is wetland, because if it's wetland, you have to be within a certain distance.
Right.
So I called the town to find everything out and I spoke with Hannah and we kind of made our appointment. I believe it was you came down to the house and checked it out, because little did we know, there's a shed that was there previous to us purchasing the house that is within the buffer zone. So we didn't even know it was wetland.
Sure.
Until you guys came down and you were like, she checked it out and we spoke over the phone a little bit and then we had a meeting at the house and she did like a little core check, I guess, thing.
Yeah,
that
I was
her
ordering.
pool.
Yep.
And,
Use that order sometimes.
and so she had mentioned that, the shed is a no-no, which we, like I said, it was there before we moved in, we had no idea. So we need to figure out from you guys what we need to do about that shed. And then also she had mentioned the area along the driveway where the arborvitae's are. So I guess what we're trying to do is just come into compliance. I did get in touch with, actually, it was Land Planning is the company that, I got in touch with. They gave us an estimate. Their estimate is pretty pricey. And so it's like an unforeseen expense towards what we want to do. So what we're getting at, I guess, is we want to make sure that we'll be able to put the pool, like, obviously, we want to come into compliance with the town. But we just want to know, like, what we have to do to be able to get the pool put in. He wanted to step, the landowner, I don't actually own the land, I live there. He's my boyfriend. And, we wanted to get the pool started as soon as possible, but obviously the breaks have been.
I assume you want an in-ground pool as opposed to above ground.
Yeah, yeah, and ground pool with a patio. I do have a plan that one of the companies gave me.
Sketched out something.
Yeah, and actually that was the gentleman that told us, cause like 4 companies, I think, came out before anybody was even like, you might wanna check that out. And when we purchased the land, the guy that we bought it from, he never mentioned that it, and I guess that's up to us to do the due diligence, check things out and stuff like that, but he never mentioned that it was wetland or anything like that. So like we really, I don't want to say we're like ignorant, because we're not, like, but we just didn't know.
So, man. I'm looking at the aerial of your property. Where is he thinking is wetlands? The south side?
The south, yeah.
Because the north side is kind of in the crotch of the trunk line, which is a raised.
Right, so
trestle.
the trunk line runs like directly across
Behind.
our backyard.
Yeah.
So if you're standing, looking into the backyard up at the trunk line, the left side of the property, that whole
And
spot
does it-
there
does
is.
it drop?
So it's kind of like a little gully ravine, and it dries up periodically, but it looks like, there's like stone. It looks like a little kind of like a river almost, but it's not like, it dries up part of the year. It's got like, somebody dammed it before with like a stone little dam towards the end, because there's like this big, where the,
There is a pond at the Sportsman's Club.
Yeah.
Not too far away.
It was probably water diverting off the rail.
So it's actually an intermittent portion of Hove Brook.
that's what she said, it was like an intermittent river or something like that. That's,
Well, there's a brook that goes under the trail, not too far from there.
yeah, there's like this big, it's like a big stone. It looks almost like a fireplace thing with a square hole in it, and the water goes under. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know, because it's had the little, yeah, that's so you can see it right there. That is where it goes under. But I think the guy that lived there before us, his name was Pete Rosini. I think he put rocks and stuff there because he wanted it.
To have ducks.
Yeah, and he stuck a duck box there, and we've been there for almost 10 years, have never seen a duck. I mean, I just saw a goose in the yard the other day randomly, and I thought maybe it was hurt, because I've never seen.
You
Like-
say you bought the property 10 years ago?
Let's see, we've been living there probably for 8 years,
Kevin,
but we didn't purchase it.
can you go to Google
Because
overview?
there's a statute of limitations on when a commission is allowed to enforce violations for a previous homeowner.
Okay,
I
I can
believe
try and find
I
out.
believe it's 3 years, so if you,
Oh, we've way over 3 years we've had this property.
believe it's- to a new property owner. Or no, we have 3 years of when they've owned it to do it. There's.
Oh, we've been longer than 3 years.
Superior, what ruling about that? Someone in some town, I'll look it up.
Right.
Okay.
I'll find it.
I know there's some of that, but there's also like, if there is a violation in a resource area, it's a new violation every single day that it's located there. And under our bylaws, anything like we consider a resource area, so there might be more there, but we consider buffer zone to be resource area under our bylaws. So every day that a violation exists within a resource area is technically a new violation. So once it's remedied, it's obviously the violations stop and you can't prosecute from there, or you have 3 years to prosecute from there, I guess. But if it's a violation in a buffer zone because it's a resource area and there's fill in that or like a structure in it, it's considered a new violation every single day that the structure is still there. So it's definitely a little bit of,
On mass
Bring up
map
Google,
showing some wetlands.
Google satellite for that area,
Sure.
because there's a site just south of it that we have walked that has vernal pools in it.
What is a vernal pool?
Good question. It's a resource area, by that means it's under our jurisdiction to try to protect. And
Okay.
basically, it's an area that can be wet at certain times of the year and can almost dry up. It's a extremely valuable from an environmental point of view resource area because it's a very,
yes.
an area that allows a breeding of species like
Diverse.
salamanders and shrimp fairy shrimp or whatever, and some other species that I'm not gonna get the right names of for, but.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not always wet
Because it
year round.
changes, it provides different.
Right, yeah, it's certain springtime.
Ecosystems for different.
Usually in the
animals and
springtime,
stuff.
it's wet enough to provide this critters to grow in there and
Okay.
get developed. And then it may dry up in the dry part of the summer and then be.
Then
flooded in the
other
winter.
stuff uses it.
Yeah,
during
right,
that.
right.
Okay.
So it doesn't always look like ripple necessarily, but
Right,
it can be.
Eddie, can you bring this up to about here?
Just
This
bring both
section.
map up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you remember, when we walked this, right about here is a fairly large pool. And it drains through here and they put the culvert. And it washes all into here. There's water mitigation under the the driveway. We walked that site.
under our driveway?
No,
So
this
Oh.
project. Your
Oh.
house is,
Oh,
right
okay,
here. There's a
I'm
pond
sorry.
there, and just south of the Sportsman is a pretty decent wetland structure, if you remember,
How long ago did we walk that? Trying to remember walking down by the sportsman.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing that
2
anytime.
years ago.
Yeah.
Well, it just, to me, it shows that there's a lot of wetland activity in this whole area, so it clearly,
That's-
we're not, obviously not gonna decide anything, but it sounds like somebody needs to go walk it and maybe
This pond,
check it out.
is that- Yeah, that was made.
Look, that lower area
thing.
Yeah. So is this where we suggest what advice do we give her? That someone has to go there
Well,
to read it?
we've had
I
two
want
people.
Hannah to explain it to me like I'm 5, because I don't wanna get anything wrong.
No, that's, as somebody who's new to the process and is willing to learn and try to abide by things.
Like
we're
I've
happy
lived
to-
in Bellingham almost my whole entire life.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the Scott Hill Acres. Now we live over on Lake Street, so I wanna stay in Bellingham.
Sure.
But we also want a pool.
Yeah.
We have 2 small children, 1 teenager, so.
So what I kind of explained is, as far as the pool goes, if they like to put an application in for that, they can. Or if it's outside the 100-foot, they can, they don't need to come to us for an application.
How do we determine where the buffer lines are?
So, right.
That's what Bill.
So
Right.
as part of,
What I'm wondering is, did Bill give you a quote for, or did land planning give you a quote for just the survey?
I have, wetland delineation,
There you go.
survey and site plan, conservation if necessary. And then it says additional services, but where it gets like really crazy is the additional services.
And maybe because schools, depending on where they're located, need a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. That can be pretty expensive. So if it's outside of that 100 foot, then there's a potential it might not, although this might have a 200 foot buffer zone. Because it's river.
But you said before that it was an intermittent river,
Stream, yeah.
intermittent stream.
I don't think that they differentiate between intermittent and perennial.
For what? For intermittent streams have 100 foot buffer, and then rivers, which are perennial streams, have the 200 foot riverfront area.
Okay.
So
this
she
should
had
be- I think
explained
it
to me
should
that we
be
followed
and
and
it should
fall
be
under the,
just that little
100
section
foot.
before it feeds into the rest of it. So it should only have the 100 foot
So
in
that
this
should be-
location.
The pools outside of the 100 foot.
They wouldn't need to come for an application.
but where the house is and where the septic is. If we don't put it like kitty corner, I don't know if you can bring up a picture and see like where the house is. I can probably show you right where we wanna. All right. So do you mind if I get
Yeah,
up?
okay, right up.
Okay.
Yep.
So. Okay, so this right here
So what was this area?
is where the wetlands are. So he wants to put it here between the house and this is a play area and this is wood chips.
Okay.
So he wants to stick it here.
If that's not 100 feet away from wherever the wetlands line is, that you just put your hand curving down on the south side of the property.
Yeah, it's like, it's hard to tell if
Right,
this is
that's
like,
what-
cause I don't know where.
Yeah, can we do like Google Maps? And
That's
measure
where we
the edges?
generally would say, what we need is delineation
Only
or
75 feet.
bill or something like that from,
Yeah.
The land
Land
plan,
planning.
yeah,
to come out, who's a professional surveyor, and they would know how to find out where the wetlands line is. They
right,
would then mark it off. We would then review that marking and agree with it or disagree, and they would move the flags as Hannah or the commission or both. Review it, and then once they've agreed upon where the wetlands line is, then you could actually make your plans from that and know whether you'd have to go through us at all. If you can move it away, for example, if the area that your boyfriend would like to put this. A pool is too close to within 100 feet, then you'd have to go through an application process, ask for a waiver and all that. That's time consuming and everything else, and
Yeah.
could be expensive and might involve more services from land planning. However, if the pool could be located 100 feet away, let's say on the other side of the house, that cleared area that's above, I don't know if it could.
the septic is.
Yeah, right, so yeah, obviously not gonna dig down something, because I don't
Yeah.
know what's up, but if there was some way to move it farther away, you might be 100 feet away, we don't know, and without knowing
It's,
where you wanna put it.
yeah,
Do you think you need a waiver?
Well, if they're gonna be less than 100 feet away.
They also kind of the other thing is that when the driveway was expanded and the gravel was put in and then the shed that's located there, I mean, you know, we can look into it, but from my knowledge, those would both be like existing continuous violations. And those are both right on the edge of the 25 foot and neither of those were permitted. So that would be just a, you know, enforcement order or, well, an enforcement order for. They would potentially still need to come for a permit to keep those in place. So that was kind of if they wanted to do the pool and put that into the, you know.
Get it
after
all
the
taken care of in one.
so what
Or-
exactly is an enforcement order?
So that would be if the commission chooses to move forward to get the site into compliance, which would be. It depends on what they would like to happen. So it is like a legal, you know, letter, but it would lay out, okay, you need to do this by this date, you need to do this by this date. So it would involve like,
Okay, so it's kind of like a plan to come into compliance and we have like set,
Exactly.
like,
deadlines for.
okay,
And the scope of what needs to be done, so you're not like, oh, I have to fix things, but I don't know what that means. It would be
Right,
clearly
right.
laid out. And we would want to be sure that you understand if you're doing it yourself, and you have a representative here from another company that's doing it for you, whatever acting on your behalf, they would be clear on what the scope is that's needed. So once it's in compliance, the enforcement order is removed, taken away, whatever you want to think about it. And that's good, because you don't want that sitting around on someone's deed, property deed, which eventually, if it's not dealt with and cleared up, it gets recorded, or actually does it get recorded right away?
It
not- I thought eventually, if it's
Not an enforcement order.
What?
If
What,
they
what am I thinking of
An
then?
order of conditions gets recorded.
Oh, you can
No, I thought,
report an enforcement order.
You can, but they, right, but they don't, KP law doesn't typically recommend.
oh, no, I'm not saying we recommend it. I don't think we've ever done it in my time here.
Only if they
but-
don't.
Right, I think,
So
it's-
I have another little question
Sure.
too.
You can't tell.
So when the driveway was paved,
Yeah, but
we needed a permit for that?
if it was close enough to the wetlands, yes.
But so. Obviously, we didn't like do the asphalt ourselves, so
With a contractor to speak up and like this pool company did, they should if they're knowledgeable enough, but a lot of contractors don't, and they probably figure. and
like
they
we had to even get a detail for it.
Yeah, a police detail or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's aside from.
I know that's.
The wetlands,
that's
but,
different,
but my
like,
point would be that the paving company probably would turn to you as the property owners slash living in people
Yeah,
and say, it's your property, you're told us to put this in here, we assume that you're complying with all the regulations.
oh, so it's kind of like,
Conservation
we
work,
thought you did it,
Conservation, it's just like,
we thought they did it, so.
yeah, no, and a
okay.
little different than a contractor's building your house, they are required to pull a building permit. And if they don't,
Okay.
get all the sub permits, the electrical, plumbing and everything, that's their part of doing the general contracting, that's on them, not you. And if
Okay,
they don't do something like that, you could sue them, or they could have to fix it or whatever, but in this case, they probably, you didn't know
so
better.
it's
and
a shame on me thing, kinda,
I think it's like.
fool me once.
Again, it would be nice if every contractor knew this, or just said to you as precautionary thing, hey, it looks kind of like this area here might
Well,
be an
now
area
I'm
you
gonna
might.
ask
check
him.
out. Yeah,
Every
that-
time.
Now
but
you know,
Yeah,
exactly.
now I know.
you didn't do it knowingly, and the contractor might or might not have known or guessed or whatever, just wanted to work and may have.
Well, I feel like, I don't
If
know, they kind of ditched us halfway through and then we had to contact asphalt engineering
Not finished the job.
and finish it up, yeah.
Yeah, so-
should have known.
Well, I know Nate is really good about stuff like that. No, Nate is really good about like making sure he has the permits for stuff, cause he's been in business for 20 years and around here, so.
Unlike some kinds of permits that you might use, full wetlands permits and knowing whether you need to even pull one, you didn't even know that part of your property is wetlands.
Yeah,
Contractors is very similar, some are very knowledgeable, but some have no clue, and a wetlands, where it is and isn't wetlands, there could be a wettish area that's just flooded with
It was-
one
it was
rainstorm
an
because something was
older
backed up down there. Yeah.
who had come
Yeah.
and he was like, you know.
Yeah.
You might wanna check that out, and I was like,
Nice when they could tell you
okay,
that,
we'll do it, yeah.
and we would know that you're wanting to put a pool in and accept that you came to us and asked about that, so.
Yeah.
Technically.
Well, the
it's
second
acceptable.
somebody was like, you need to talk to someone about this, I was like, tell me who, point me in the direction, cause we're like. We wanna be above board with everything, we're not, we live in this town, we plan on living here for ever.
So the driveway part of it, and the arborvitae's were mentioned, is that just that it's too close to the line, or do we, where you think the wetlands line is?
We need
or-
to like plant stuff.
I see a row of trees right there next to the driveway.
And these
What-
the description,
The description,
like the planting.
like your notes.
It's on the southern side of the cleared and
That should.
and disturbed area.
Estimated, but.
Oh, yeah, so that picture's a pretty good view right there.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is, so this is all,
Dimension of pre-existing
this is all site work
driveway,
that they have done.
40 feet towards the
Yes,
resource
okay,
area.
correct. Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what we did. So we put the trees up and the rocks. To keep, because there was like trash and stuff always comes off the street. So he put the trees up and the rocks so that it's easy, it doesn't get all like tangled up because there was like. I don't even remember what was there before.
Well, in 2013, which is before you said you owned the property, right? You've been there 7 or 8 years?
I'll have to
It
look.
does show
and see,
you
but-
2013 in the street right there too, so if you want to see what it looked like in 2013, that's. what-
We didn't live there, cause when we moved in, we moved the trash barrels.
Okay,
We
so-
never leave them on.
But you were trying to remember what was there before, that's what was there before.
Right, so, but we didn't,
The driveway was narrower, there was some trees, it looks like there. in the
that
front
dead
area.
tree was taken down,
Right,
but the stump is still there. We didn't take that out. Oh no, that big dead tree is gone.
Bennett, can you go to the 2008 aerial in that photo sequence a little further?
2023.
No, 2008.
Oh, that area, yeah.
What are these? Do you know what these are?
Yeah, so those, I believe it was like
Those are
more of
across the
an
street.
agriculture-ish area.
Oh, now that you
So there
say
was kind of some
agriculture, I remember what was over there now.
Yeah,
The guy that lived there before had, it was, he had it fenced in and he had a garden that he never took care of. Like it was just all overgrown and fenced in and it was
Yeah.
like,
kind of see that, and so it's been disturbed, I mean, the whole area has been historically disturbed, and you can kind of see that when you're on site. And there's the old, you know.
he just wanted to make it look like
But
cleaner.
it's-
Black thing on the
Cause he's
flip
a,
is.
he's a
No, so this is.
a
the wetlands.
landscaper, he has his
So
own
it's like
business, so
trenches.
he's like really meticulous about like the lawn in the yard, he wants it to look nice, so that's why he took out the fenced in mess that the guy had.
Okay, so that's been cleared out since, yeah.
Bro,
At least on this side of the road.
Yeah.
Your side of the road. Okay,
I take back my previous comments. I thought this was all previous.
Oh, okay, yeah. So just in terms of like, moving forward, I can draft an enforcement order if that's the direction that we'd like to go for the next meeting.
Well, they intend to keep it.
Right, so,
Likely,
but,
right?
so an enforcement order to require a NOI, essentially,
what is,
unless you just want to request that they
I
submit.
feel
it.
like that's just more paperwork.
Okay.
so
Yeah.
we could say, basically enforcement, we could say things are not right, they're not the way they should be, there's stuff in the areas, the driveway. The extension, the grading, the shed, and we can't say the pool is in the area, because you haven't built. the
It's
pool.
not there.
Right, so we say there's some problems with the property now.
right,
Some of which you inherited, we would like to see those dealt with, that's the enforcement order. This is how you'd have to do it, this is the time you would have to do it within, you'd come in, you'd be told this, and this is not an optional thing, this is, mandatory, and you understand the scope, and then you agree to do that, Hannah would continue to monitor it for a period of time, and then we dealt with. Once the enforcement order is off and taken care of, that's great, that gets things back in compliance. You could either separately or at the same time be starting to file a notice of intent or an RDA, but I think an NOI is gonna be required, because you have to have delineation, so notice of intent and NOI means
Okay.
it's a form, Hannah can talk you through it, and show you about it. But it's basically somebody who wants to do something on their property, which requires us to review it and approve it or alter it, have the plans changed to become compliant. And that's where you come in for an actual hearing process and so on. You can represent yourself if you wish to. If you have property delineation, however, which would be a necessary part of this, Hannah could help you identify some things you might need to do.
They contracted land planning.
Well.
well, we have the
Looked at,
estimate,
I haven't heard the
yeah.
contract today, the price, knowing that the price could be an issue.
I have my opinion, and please stop me if I sound crazy, but all the activity is gonna be within buffer zone. I don't think having delineation is gonna change.
It definitely does, just in terms of like the gravel potentially going into the wetland.
Is it literally at like toe of slope where they had built already?
But in terms of like getting a plan, and that would be my recommendation.
Well, to me too, if putting the pool
I think it
in,
would benefit them, or if they plan to have work in the future, like the septic fails.
No, that's fine. It's just not cheap, so.
well, the other thing is that the delineation, I think, would be helpful for, and I don't think they could continue without it, without having something there, is when they want to put the pool in, it needs to decide whether it's 50 feet away or 100 feet away or whatever, but on a plan
So if the.
from where the weather
If,
line is.
if my understanding, the pool is an accessory structure to the house. As if it's just in buffer zone, it doesn't actually require the filing of an NOI. I'm pretty sure.
Cause you have to make sure that you're discharging that pool water correctly. In a lot of cases, if you are near wetlands, you have to get the Army Corps of Engineers permit. And
For what?
it's like, I'm gonna have to look it up.
I just can't imagine that.
But mostly just.
It appears as if the house is only 50 feet off the wetlands.
Well, so there's a long list of what's called a minor activity within buffer zone in the WPA, and I'm almost certain sheds, pools,
It's 50 feet away, yeah, it would be exempt from WPA,
Right.
but not the bylaw,
right?
so that would.
So we have DEP, or Wetlands Protection Act, which is a state enforced
And then
regulations,
town
and
law.
then town bylaws. The town bylaws that were written and approved by town meeting, but written by the Conservation Commission years ago. I was involved in the committee early on in my stint here with doing that. Are in some cases talking about the same kinds of things, like how far you can, how your septic system has to be above the groundwater in the ground. That's something most people can relate to, sort of in their minds.
Mhm.
How far you have to be away from a protected area like a vernal pool or a wetlands.
Mhm.
We in the town, in some cases, not all, have gotten more strict in our regulations, slightly or somewhat, than the state. The state might be a little more willing to let you be within 25 feet of something. We say, no, you have to be at least 25 feet away. We say, no, you have to be 50, for example.
Okay,
And we have the right to do that. The state has said you can't be less strict than this, than our state regulations,
but you can be
more
more
strict.
strict.
So, and many towns have done this, we're not the only ones. So we have, you as an applicant would need to comply with both the state regulations first and foremost, but also the Bellingham bylaws where they're applying. And so in example, the distance from you can be from for your proposed pool from the wetlands line, wherever that is. The state may say one thing, but we say another. It needs to be the stricter of the two.
Right.
Can I ask a question that I know was asked, but I didn't hear the answer? Is the pool going to go behind the house, north of the house, or are you wanting to put it south of the
I
house?
think
So it's not gonna be south. It wants to be like kitty cornered almost.
yeah, she came up and pointed out where she wanted to have it over here, when it was on the aerial view. So if you find the aerial view, it's in between the playground area and the house.
That looks like it would be right on the edge of the 100-foot mark.
Well, that's why I didn't know. You said the house is 50. It looks like it's gonna be
Yeah,
close.
I'm guessing
Oh,
based on the
yeah.
2008 aerial where the black lines are,
Okay.
I'm measuring from there. And the house looks to be about 50 to 60 feet from those black lines.
Right, okay, so we're trying to get a sense of whether we need to have you do one type of application or another, and that would affect how you would need to consider getting some assistance with services, professional services, because you can't delineate a property, wetlands line unless you're certified to do so and have us approve it. I mean, you could say where you think it is, but we'd have to get it certified. And that's probably gonna be one of the more important things to do for this, just because you want to do some additional work. We wouldn't necessarily need to see that wetlands line delineated if we were just gonna deal with an enforcement order and dealing with the shed, which might mean require a removal of the shed.
The
How,
shed, we don't,
is it an old shed? It's an.
no, I mean, I think he probably maybe put it in like 2 years before we moved in. But
Is it sitting on pilings? Is it just sitting on the ground? No.
I don't
Is it
know.
raised above the ground at all, or is it just looks like it's sitting there when you
I
walk up
think
to
you
it?
step up into it,
Step up.
but it's not, there's not an actual step, like he put, cobblestone and stone, crushed stone around it.
Right.
Drainage
and stuff, yeah. Is it
Yeah.
wood or metal?
It's wood,
I mean,
He didn't pour a pad.
so I don't know, it's the guy who lived there before us.
so when you open the
That's been
door,
there.
It wouldn't, I hate to say it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did pour a pad because.
when you open the door, you look down the floor, what's it made of? Dirt,
Oh,
metal, wood?
Or is it just concrete?
I think it might be concrete.
Probably on the pad.
Well, then it
I'll
would
have
be-
to,
Okay.
right now I can't.
That helps us to, a little bit, just to understand the structure. I mean, it was just an old wooden shed that was falling apart in that, or metal shed.
Well, that's on the opposite side.
That's
of
the other one. That
Yeah,
one you can pull out our.
yeah, that, he's been wanting to do that for
Yeah.
years, so.
So this other shed, I mean, it may be possible to relocate it as opposed to tear it
It's,
down.
yeah, it's tiny, it's not,
It's up to
but,
you. But as an enforcement order thing, that would be something we could deal with,
Mhm.
perhaps not getting a proper wetlands delineation. The same thing with the driveway, although that's much more problematic because that's a bigger investment than yours, and deciding what,
right,
anything we'd have to do with that.
I'd like to get something figured out, at least in the direction
Yeah.
tonight.
So would we. So, Hannah, you were about to say something, I think? Yes.
Oh, I was just.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the commission here on moving this along for everybody's sake? You want to look at. Well, two of you have seen the site, Hannah and Ariana. Does somebody else want to lay eyes on the site just to see if that helps them better understand what the options are?
Well,
or-
let me ask you a question. Did we, in order to do our job, we need to reference a defined wetland plan of some description. We need some formal confirmation of where the edge is,
Right.
so we can pull dimensions. There's no one on this board that can do that.
I certainly can. I'm not certified for that and
So a site visit would be somewhat premature
without delineation.
without something to reference when we're there.
Did Bill,
So it's what I'm getting at, it seems like starting with a delineation is the kickoff.
right, so it's the applicant's or property owner's responsibility to try to get a wetlands delineation if it's needed and required. We think probably it will be. I'm seeing no one else nod their heads or shake their heads and that they really don't think one's necessary at this point in time. Did Bill specify in the land planning proposal just what the survey would cost? Did he spell it
did.
out? Okay,
He's the wetland delineation, the cost estimate is 800, and then the survey and site plan is 2,900. And then the conservation was 1,600,
that would be meetings like he appeared at one for another representative, another.
like prior, yeah, like he was over here.
So it's 800 for him to delineate the wetland. And what, the next one was a site plan?
In order to establish the location of property lines, a survey of the land will be required. First, land planning will perform property line research with the assessor's office and registry of deeds. And then it's just a bunch of other
Yeah.
cost estimate is based upon the assumption that there will be adequate monumentation recovered. I think that's the word.
Yeah, that's probably just posts or concrete pilings
Right,
that
something
indicate
that
where
they
your
can
property
measure
line
off.
is.
I'd like to see it. Since we're going out this weekend for other site walks anyway. I'd like to get eyes on it because my inclination is that right now is to be very conservative and just to assume the edge of the wetland is. Where the lawn meets whatever other vegetation that is, and then assume that's the edge of the wetland. And work off of that.
That's what I was getting. So if,
But if there's gravel fill, so that's why
That's the
I'd
only
like to see it.
location That's kind of iffy.
If
I mean,
there's
the
an
rest
area
of it is
where-
Pretty much just bank.
Yeah.
And then it's, it's bank lawn.
Go
and
slow.
that's
Cause
pretty-
then that's
great.
the most conservative, cause more than likely the actual edge of BVW is further in.
In meaning away or.
Away
closer
from the
to-
lawn, so if we assume it's the edge of the lawn, that's the most
It's too much,
conservative.
I mean, it's lawn and then like the rock that they had, and then it's direct wetland until it gets to that gravelly section.
Okay.
But the rest.
Down
of
the
it-
end towards the
Yeah.
driveway. It's not like that towards until the driveway.
Yeah.
It's kind of like lines up because it starts where. So the driveway goes across this way and then there's rocks that were like already there that kind of like. Curve around and go down to where it's like where the water is. And then. The arborvitae's are there and there's the like crushed stone and it goes behind the arborvitae's, but I mean, we can always move the stone back. We can, it's been there for a few years now. I'm sure it's like kind of migrated a little bit, but we can always,
so to take James's point, if we were to assume
yeah, see, like
conservatively,
go past that kind of natural line of rocks that was already there.
so if we were to measure, if the applicant weren't to start the pool until 100 feet from this edge, then there's no intrusion into either of the buffer zones.
From the closest point to the wetlands from the closest point of the pool. Do you know how big the pool you want to put in and stuff is? And the patio area, because the patio area is bigger than the pool, so
Right, so the patio area is also included, yes, in the,
that's potential, yeah, it's a
so
permanent. structure.
any sort of construction wherever the edge is.
Any land work,
Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean,
Because the patio could be larger, or smaller, the pools could be a certain size, say 20 by 40, if it's rectangular or something like that.
yeah, it's not even that big.
Right, so, but you could have you have a specific size in mind and it's gonna be a certain shape. That you can plunk down on a plan anywhere you want to
Right,
say that's
you
it,
need
but
to
the
put it
patio
around it.
could be any shape around there, it could be 10 feet wide, it could be 25 feet wide. And that could affect in this property, where and how close you are to the property line. If you knew that information prior to us even considering coming out again to look at some of the members like myself and a few others who haven't seen this. And you could
To make.
put some stakes in the ground
Like where the
where the
proposed,
outer area of the patio would be, especially on the wetland side. We don't care about the house side close to
the
this.
side, yeah, the south side is the.
This is the closest we would be, and this is approximately how big an area, at least. If you could do the whole pool patio area, great, with, you know, however many stakes, doesn't have to be every foot or anything like that, it's just. Enough for us to have, but the critical information is how close the disturbance would be to the wetlands in that direction of the yard, you know, property. If that is possible to stake that in. Or just to get a preliminary sense, because this is again without doing any surveying or getting wetland delineation.
Yeah.
I'm also combining it as a potential, just for those that.
We're not delineating wetlands.
No, I'm not delineating where it is. I'm not proposing delineating it. I'm saying if other members want to see the site, you and Hannah have, no one else has. If other members feel to review this project down the road, having a visual of the site by this weekend would be good. It would be helpful if by then we had a sense of where the pool would be, not delineating the wetlands, but just to have a sense of where it was in the yard.
If there weren't wetlands, what we would plan on doing.
No, where you would want to put it in the yard now.
Well, that's what
They
I'm
know
saying,
there's
so like if
wetlands.
there weren't
But-
wetlands, no
Wait a
concern,
second.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Good, finish.
So if there weren't wetlands and no concern, you want us to, you wanna see where we would have had the pool, like, before they told us this might be wetlands, like what our idea was?
Well, you already have said you're limited on where you can put it in the yard, because you can't put it on top of your septic, you have to have a certain distance away from the house. And so
Right.
forth. So where you want to put it in the yard, we would then. Probably after familiarize yourself with the site, which is the main reason we're coming out, is not to say you can put the pool here versus there, because we would not know where the wetlands are specifically, but just get familiar with the site.
Delineated, yeah.
Right, because it's not delineated. It wouldn't hurt to have that information by, if we're going to be coming out, if the commission members that are going to be available for the sidewalk Saturday want to add that on, just to get familiar with the site. If you've already seen the site, they may not want to come and see it again. Ariane, you know, may not want to see it again. But other members might want to just familiarize themselves briefly with the site, so it'll be a 10-minute walk around the site just to get familiar with the yard. Oh, that's what the slope is. I've seen the pictures now. Oh, I really do see the drop off. Just
Yeah.
remember that. The pool marking and patio marking is not something that would be really required until a delineation, if one's needed, is necessary, but I want you to at least, because some of us haven't seen.
I'm more concerned about the potential enforcement order issue, the gravel fill.
Right, if they want to see where the shed is and how close it is.
Determine where the wetland resources based on the information over there. She took a hand on her and it was wet.
Where, in the gravel or the?
It was in that.
The
thick-
lake.
I didn't go into the gravel, it was wetland right to the edge of the gravel, so I assumed that just about at that toe slope where it's transitioning.
Right.
That it was about the edge, but I also didn't wanna make that call until they had someone come out to do it, and then I could evaluate what they had.
Or it sounds like at some point in time, the
This was just
gravel,
like a preliminary, I think it's about here.
sounds like at some point in time in history, the gravel made its way into the wetland.
Well, the gravel was placed in the last couple.
Yes.
So.
Before they
For
occupied.
the
before-
installation
before
of
the-
the-
No, no.
and
Oh, you
the
tried it,
driveway.
okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to sure that,
The
because something was done.
expanded,
Oh, the shed.
Yeah,
it's all in,
Was the
they
gravel
planted the
shed.
arborvitae and then they put the.
yeah,
ground-
the shed we didn't add,
That's why,
that was already.
that's why I prefaced, I wanna see it in person, because right now I'm holding the conservative line of. The edge of the lawn is the edge of the BBW, but if I get out there and then see,
That it's not.
That when we don't have a survey.
I can go this
I'm
weekend.
going
too.
based off photographs and everything we have.
Well, there's-
The enforcement order, the violation and installing of a pool in the grass lawn is two separate issues for me.
Yeah,
I think you understand that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like,
So-
right now, I, like, as for the pool, like. It could be 100% on the back burner, we don't even have to say boo about it again tonight. I would like to just figure out what to do about,
The shed and the driveway.
Well, I see shed as a pre-existing condition that they didn't.
And I think that was kind of what you were
Yeah.
saying, right? Because the shed was done prior, so if that's, if that's kind of donezo, we don't have to worry about that anymore. It'll
Like,
take
if
out
we have to
that.
mention it, that's fine, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect any, like, compensation and mitigation for that.
okay, so the shed is. No,
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the.
The grass.
The driveway.
Yeah.
okay,
Right,
That
which,
seems like that's.
if
closer.
commission members want to see something before deciding on the course of an enforcement order.
I
potential
do also have
enforcement order,
additional pictures.
Okay.
Right. Sometimes being out on the site, if you're already going out for the weekend and you want to go see it, I would encourage members
Yeah.
to take that up. It's worth, take advantage of the opportunity.
We're gonna
If
be-
you don't want to see it, that's fine. We're not gonna rule anything. We don't discuss the project. We don't,
No, I know.
just so you know, we don't discuss the project. We're on the site.
Fishing.
We'll just be looking at it and we can allow out in meeting law to discuss it, and especially the number of members there in this forum. Unless we're at the table in a meeting here, so we may ask questions about it, we can ask pointed, facts and discuss that part of it, to make sure we understand the facts, but. Opinions and so forth won't be stated, so it's just a quick site visit for those members that want to. Does anybody who is, well, let me get a show of hands again, because things may have changed for people, I know Don's plans changed, so I don't think he's planning.
Anna, have you been able to confirm those meetings?
8:30, we had a sidewalk at 29 Iris.
This week, but no, I didn't contact them after they said, yes, we're on for this day.
We confirmed that they haven't forgotten.
Yeah, I can
Just double
confirm with
checking.
this week.
8:30 for a sidewalk, we have at 29 Iris Lane, and then 9:30, we have a sidewalk at 12 Minute. An approximate time.
What was the first one?
8:30 at 29
29
Iris, and then 12 Monique at 9:30. We wouldn't do it earlier than 8:30, I don't think, just to make sure members are all.
We guess there's 3.
How many people think they can make it still for the Saturday during those 2 times at least?
I'll be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
So Nicole, yes,
I'll be there.
Rand, no,
yeah.
Steve, I am, okay, James, and then, did we know if Don's coming back into town before then? I forget whether he said he's in.
I think he was
So,
like.
I think he's-
He wasn't sure if that was wrong.
Okay, all right, so we're not gonna count on him being there necessarily, don't worry about that. He makes it, he's also around town a lot, he can shoot over to either of those sites, I'm sure, if he hasn't already seen them.
Well, he's right down the street from this too, so.
Yeah,
Are we thinking roughly 10:30, 10 o'clock Saturday?
probably, yeah, I think 12 Monique was a really quick one, if I remember right.
Oh, 10 with this.
So,
We done?
you two would like to see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
and.
be bouncing around.
Okay, the four of us,
I don't know if you wanna share the additional pictures.
pictures,
Yeah, throw everything.
And this was just, it seemed like there was a lot of information already in there.
Just like skin tone.
if you do like 1 second for a shot, she wants to.
She really wants
her
to see
photos.
it. Put it on a slide,
Make it more subtle, she really wants everybody to see her pictures.
Did you do a bunch of 0.5 pictures with the?
Is she an
perfect thumb?
aspiring photographer?
There's some trash,
Just like the
a
pictures?
photograph,
So on
some screenshots.
this Saturday, the 13th, are you at home?
I'm just looking at that right now.
Around 10 o'clock for probably 15-20 minutes max, if that. We might need to be a little flexible in the time because we're coming from 2 other sidewalks and sometimes things run a little bit longer. I didn't want to wait.
10 a.m.?
Roughly.
Roughly.
Yeah, I should be around. You guys would like my bees though.
Like your bees?
My bees, I have my bees that I've been taking care of.
Oh, like honeybees?
Well, I don't know, they're not honeybees.
Depends on what.
I think they're carpenter bees. So we got they're purple flowers. I don't even know what they are, but I got them to attract butterflies for the mulch bed. And these like big honking, like the bobber bees, I call them, because they get so full of pollen, they can barely fly. And I've been like, I'm sad because they're going away now because it's getting cold at night, but like I've been putting them to sleep because they sleep under the leaves on the flowers, and I literally pet them. They're my babies, and I was so sad because I didn't see many of them today, and I was like, my bee boys are gone.
Okay, well, we'll be careful when we get.
Oh, I see. There.
So I'm curious, in an unrelated thing. 3 of my dogs came from your neighbor across the street.
Across the street,
Yeah, Debbie.
I lived on Rondo Road.
Oh, this 380 Lake.
Oh, no, so, nobody lives across the street, there's no house across the street.
The breeder.
There's no house across the street, it's a
Okay.
field.
Let me switch topics.
Is there, so
So
is
10 o'clock, you think we?
I can be there.
So those that are on the first 2, we'll try to come over there right around 10 o'clock. Those that can't make it, that are on the sidewalks earlier, you'll peel off if you can't make it.
is there anything else I need to like get, because do they need to move forward with?
Well,
this?
that's
Procured the
what
quote
I'm
for it?
trying to
Is there
get to here. I'll
anything-
be.
Yeah.
I would recommend at least doing a survey because it's gonna help us with the enforcement order and it's gonna help with. your-
By survey, you mean
But-
wetlands?
The survey or the delineation?
Delineation.
Okay, cause the survey is twice as much.
What a good pool company would do is like see the wetland line and move the pool away from that. and-
Well, that's why So like I said, this last gentleman that came, Ferrari's his name.
Yeah.
And it's Aquascape, I believe is his company,
Okay.
but, he was like, you can put it here, but your town might not let you because this looks like it's wetland, you should get that checked out. And he's the only one that mentioned it.
And if you have a good, if you have a good idea, bring it.
He's the most expensive, but he's
Definitely
probably.
good, because if you started putting in a pool and then you didn't, like, that would be a much harder
Well,
thing.
so
to
he
resolve.
sold his previous company, Ferrari Pools, and we had heard that Ferrari Pools was a good company, so he called Ferrari Pools and come to find out that it was sold. So we found Paul Ferrari,
Original.
the original Ferrari, and it does Aquascape now as his company, but and he was like, yeah, you should get that checked out.
All right.
Just.
Is
couldn't
force-
flag that
what did you
first,
say,
it
so
would've
enforcement
been
order?
way worse.
Yeah, cause then
That's what
they
I'm
didn't fix
going.
it.
Well. What do we want to do? James wants to see the site before he decides about enforcement order. What do you do?
I'm with James.
Okay,
Because if it's not a full, like if it's not a complete wetland fill and they decide they wanna keep it, which I assume they do. I think an NOI makes more sense to keep that in place,
you're talking about the driveway or the shed?
the driveway.
Yeah.
The shed I thought we was.
There's a 9/8.
It's done.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
the only
Well,
reason
when
you
you-
said enforcement order was just to set a timeline to essentially get an NOI, because it seemed like they would most definitely like to keep the driveway. So
Yeah.
It's kind of just setting the timeline, but if you guys are like, no, I think we just go through with having them do an NOI, that makes sense as well to me.
Yeah, I thought we kind of have been managing it where if we expect them to restore the area, we do an enforcement order.
Right, so it was, I didn't know if they were gonna keep the gravel or do something, and there was also a
We-
couple trees cut as well. So I didn't know, but if we do an NOI and you want them to just add in restoration to it instead of doing it two separate ways, can do it that way.
That's just added.
We will do whatever
But
we.
if it doesn't pan out, then it makes it worse, because then we have to go also do the enforcement. Sometimes it makes it messier, but in this case, it's something fairly small, so. So if that kind of sounds like
Tell me what to do.
makes sense, so. I don't know, it sounds like
Yeah.
survey yes, survey no, or wait.
Survey or delineation?
Well, just to be clear, because Bill put survey and wetlands delineation in there, she's one thing.
I would have assumed delineation
Delineation.
and survey, but.
They're not
just saying
together.
Just delineation.
I don't, the survey, they don't need a property line survey, they're not putting a fence around the property, so they just need the edge of the one wetland.
Right, I think it was just to create a plan.
Right, the scope I heard was that he's doing a full property line survey to do that, which is costly.
I mean, I think it's because he's the land surveyor.
Right, so I don't think you need that.
Okay, so in
Like,
terms
the
of
thing
what you
is-
would like to see, is it just,
Delineation.
you just want
The wetland line on a GIS based map,
I think we should start with that. And if that satisfies the questions before we ask the applicant to spend any more.
I just wanted to see if we could like do as much here today, seeing as like our net, like we had some good time today on this agenda versus some of the next ones are gonna be a little bit more.
By good time, you mean we all have fun.
I'm having a
Versus,
person.
normally our meetings go a lot later than.
I know you had
It's like-
said 11 o'clock last time, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah.
taking up all their time,
Yeah,
like,
It's like, I'm glad you were able to.
Oh, yeah,
This
no,
one's
2.5
way
hours to go.
better.
Come on, we can get to 11.
not me, my kids are home.
Okay.
So that,
So-
so it sounds like have them move forward, like you guys would like to see the site, have them move forward with
The
delineation
delineation.
and maybe just a GIS map on a plan. And I
And
can
maybe we
communicate
can-
that to you
can we
via
set
email, so you can
informal
send that
deadline?
to Bill as
We
well.
what?
Okay,
Rather than you having to take. Sorry, what was?
We set an informal deadline for that, like saying.
I can
hey,
send that,
can
I
we
can
put
send
you
like a
on
notice of violation for that.
You know, technically, there's a
Rather
hearing,
than-
so
No, I was talking about like, let's. put
any
you on the
need to have
agenda.
a motion or anything on,
Okay.
act on anything. You can have it as formal as you want, because this is discussion right now. This is not a
Yeah.
hearing with a
We would
motion.
need to like. Do the, like, if they're gonna put in.
Well,
an
yeah, but we would
application
like
or
make sure.
everything.
I expect I'll see you on that December.
Would that be something like next meeting though, after you guys see it?
Yeah, I
and get a
think-
better
I
idea?
mean, we're just
for-
having discussions one time, so you can set an informal understanding with the applicant to try to get this delineated, sooner than later. I think that's what we're looking for. And
I expect I'll see you on or before the December 24th of 2025.
Oh, my goodness.
We are not
I
having
can't
a
believe
meeting.
it's
Meeting on December 24th.
It's cruel.
she's joking, she.
I know.
wants to see much sooner than that. So I think you, to working with Hannah, she'll make sure you're clear on what you want to ask Bill, which is basically just the first thing on this item of things to do, the least expensive one. And then, and that might be enough for us to feel confident based on where you again want to put the pool with the pool company's input, maybe one of them or some sort of sense, and the patio, the area of disturbance. Because if that distance between them, if you
Next
get.
time I can bring the site thing that, the plan that the pool guy gave us, because
That wouldn't
You
hurt.
could probably give that to Bill, land planning, and you could probably
You
overlay
can
it.
put the shape file. like,
Okay.
wetland with the
Oh, that's a
buffer.
good idea.
And that still would not probably involve having him do a site survey. You don't want him to suddenly tack that onto a cost for your sake, unless you want to spend the money on having your
No.
property lines lined up in the house exactly where it is in the property and all that stuff. So,
And how soon won't I-
yeah, so if there's any questions about how that would work, I think Ken would be your first resource.
All the questions.
Okay. Okay. All right. In the
You're
meantime,
gonna be best
in
friends.
the meantime, it looks like our plan is to move forward on the 13th, Saturday at around 10 o'clock to show up there. Some of the members will take a look at the site like myself and just get familiar with it. That's what we're really looking to do. You don't have to have anything staked or marked or built to have done a delineation or anything like that by then. And then at some subsequent point when it is delineated, we will need to know and we will have someone go out and verify it with an order or not.
Okay.
Depends on how things. Yeah, you gotta dig it more for the winter ground hits and it's frozen stuff. Okay,
We have to
so
go
any
pet
other,
bees.
what's that? Yeah.
Oh, you come before it gets full. I'm
Go
dead
pet the bees,
serious.
yeah.
My kids are like, can I pet them? And I'm like, no, because if the bees come into me, it's
Alright.
my fault.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in. You all
Thanks very
set?
much.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, 175 North Street enforcement order. We did that. Lake Street, we did that. Minutes. Those of you who have seen the minutes and not like me missed them and then quarrelsome, know blind as I am. What did you think? Anything to Dave for the August 13th and August 27th? They look good. Steve, anything?
I didn't notice anything.
Okay,
Really?
yeah. Okay. So, good job. This is not yet, what was the meeting date that, it was the last meeting that we did the Hannah's recollections, best recollections? was?
No, that was a while ago. You guys already proved those.
Did we hit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and the 155 Maple Street, we did those signatures, yes?
Nope,
No, well, that's.
that one's,
I know we signed some other things, so I
Yeah,
didn't.
that was the amended order of conditions.
What? Yeah, so maybe somebody to make a motion, I can.
Accept the minutes
As,
of.
As written.
as, written.
As written.
Thank you, without any amendment.
8:13 and 8:27.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, anybody?
Second.
Second, Nicole, thank you. Any other discussion? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, are you here for something, sir?
I am. Well, I just wanted to check in. I haven't been out there in a while, but, my house across the Snett Trail Estates, development. I think the last time I was here, we were talking about, some property damage.
Okay.
And it's going back a ways. But
No, I-
Hannah remembers. I know.
I kind of recall your name again?
Dan Kelly.
Dan Kelly, yeah.
This is the property. I
Right, yeah, the hillside, the trees,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the developer, okay.
Yeah.
So you're looking to update us on
If
something? or-
anyone knows anything, because no one really seems to know what's going on. I was talking to Robert a little bit, but, as far as like the trees that were removed, like on my property, that seems to be working itself out through like a civil proceeding. And there are also some trees on the back half of the property. I don't know, have you been out there recently?
Not recently.
No, so like the arborist I had expressed some concern about these, 80-foot pines that they graded directly down. We're just trying to come up with a plan. Robert wanted to schedule a meeting with Tim. But again, this is all land inside the 100-foot buffer. So I don't know what to do at this point, like, they're not the
This is
trees.
at the top of the rise, that we were seeing
Yeah.
pictures where they cut the road in and they were right up to the edge of the trees, but
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that on your property still or off your property? On the next property beyond that?
Some of them are on my property and some of them are on his property.
Okay.
And I know the last time, I think Steve said you have pines come down all the time. This is kind of a little different because I stood before this commission like a year and a half ago and said this is gonna become an issue, it's become an issue.
I abstain from.
Oh, yeah.
But basically, I don't know, something needs to be done, I don't know who evaluates trees, does someone evaluate trees on behalf of the commission? If someone could come out there and look at it?
The town DPW does have a arborist.
Yeah, well, that was part of the problem, if you remember that the person who obtained these permits was the arborist.
The new
What's the
arborist?
address?
Not the new arborist. the old-
There's a new arborist.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was hoping, that's what I talked to Robert about, so I don't know if we could come up with.
So
a plan.
Robert, Bob Lussier from planning, so you say
I
Robert,
haven't talked to him in a while.
no, but that's the Robert you're referring to.
Yeah,
Okay, still got clear for the Robert, there was also some of the Robert you're
but
talking.
there's been some confusion as to whether or not, I think you said that they don't get involved with, private land and this and that, but by the regulation, they do participate in the process. In fact, I think in the, I know that's not you guys, but in the definitive subdivision approval, the tree warden is participating in the landscape plan, I think. So as part of that, again, this is all land and buffer zone. Nobody seems to know, there's no landscape plan, nobody knows what's going on. Road's not paved yet, here we are almost 2 years later. And, again,
How many houses are at the end of the road, up over the hill?
6.
Is this something we issued an order of conditions for?
Yeah. So
Well,
this
we,
is- this is
the way we
the-
looked at it was, I sent you guys a stamped engineer plan, as you said, to the previous, the 10D. I had to get a full property survey, it's not cheap, like, so I had that done, it shows what's mine, what's his.
Yeah.
So the issue was, part of his order of conditions was, I can't cite it verbatim, but it was no damage to abutting property. And another part was, something else relevant in there, I don't have it in front of me. But
I don't have.
I know,
Unfortunately, I don't.
but again,
have
that seems like it's getting resolved, but now we still have these trees that have been compromised on the back half, and I'll just read you this real quick. I've been told verbally it's an issue, by the arborist, and then, I uploaded some pictures and had AI. I just wanna read it to you real quick. I said, would you be concerned about these trees in the photo that have had their root structure graded through? I said, yes, I would be very concerned. This is off a picture. About the trees you're showing in this photo. A few reasons stand out. Looks like heavy grading excavation was done right up to the tree line. You can see a steep soil cut and exposed roots along the edge. Several of the trees now have a large portion of their root system severed or unsupported. And it says risk, structural stability. Trees that have had major roots cut on one side are much more prone to tipping or uprooting, especially in storms or high winds. Health decline, roots aren't just anchors, they absorb water and nutrients, et cetera, et cetera. And then, I uploaded a second picture and it says, yes, this second photo makes the situation even clearer and more concerning. The grading cut is very steep. It looks like a 30 to 50% of the root mass on the slope side has been severed or left exposed. Several trees are now standing right at the edge of a vertical drop with no lateral root support. On the cut side, says erosion controls are in place, but they don't stabilize tree roots. So why this is risky, high likelihood of failure. Edge trees with major roots cut away often fall within a short period, especially in wind or saturated soil. Progressive slope instability as erosion continues, more root support will be lost, compounding the hazard. And there's not really, on that slope, I don't have like a definitive answer as far as like what could be used there. There's a retaining wall there, and there was a question about engineering, whether or not it needed to be an engineered wall.
I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I
just-
know.
A lot of this you're also just, there's a lot of information and you
Yeah.
don't even have anything so much to look at.
No,
So it's-
you guys have the pictures. They were sent to you like a year ago.
Well, I mean, the information that you're.
Yeah, I mean, I'll happily say, I'm just trying to give you an idea.
Right, I just, in terms of like what, what.
A lot of
they
us
can
don't
do,
have
I'm not really
context.
Sure
I
what,
know, well, they scheduled a site meeting, right, and they were supposed to come out, you guys
You said
ordered
they, who's they?
this commission. Yeah, there was a site walk ordered, and they canceled the site walk without telling me. And then I came home one day from work, and Robert and Steve in my backyard. You can go back in the meeting.
Robert and Steve?
Yeah.
like how far back are we talking? Like was I?
For you,
Okay.
but they
So I
wanted a
think that's
sidewalk.
Probably why.
And then they
there's a little
canceled
bit
the
of
sidewalk.
What was the other Steve that you're referring to, because this is gentleman's names.
Neil, sorry,
Neil.
Neil.
Oh, Neil.
Stanley, right, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, he was on the board before, yeah.
Yeah, so they ordered a sidewalk and then they canceled the sidewalk without telling me. And then
I
came
don't
home.
remember scheduling a sidewalk for say, I'm not saying that it didn't
Oh,
get
it's-
scheduled, I just don't.
It's verifiable.
Oh, no, I'm
Yeah.
saying, I'm not disagreeing with you, I just don't remember it being canceled and why it would have been. Especially without you being notified, somebody participating. I think it sounds like you would want to see something happening or see some sort of update on what is or isn't happening. And
Yeah,
one of the
well-
best ways to do that will probably be to get you on the agenda.
Yeah.
Because that's the way to
I
act.
mean, if you wanna bring Tim in here, we can talk about it, but just like, I'm
Yeah.
not comfortable meeting Tim on my own.
If maybe building, but if it's in conservation land and conservation, right, well, not conservation land, if it is something that we put an order of conditions in. Which Hannah's saying we did have order of conditions.
It is.
Right, if there's something that's violating
All right,
order.
can we pull up the
conditions,
map, can we pull up the map, the site plan for the Senate Trail Station?
That's what I'm saying, I don't have access to that
You
right
don't?
now. No,
Really?
my computer is,
Yeah,
it's a new
nobody, like,
computer.
when you on the computer with the screen earlier, we can't pull up.
So that's all stuff that I downloaded previously to
Yeah.
have for the meeting.
Yeah.
This is a new laptop, so I don't
Yeah,
have
okay.
access to my server.
Okay,
So I should have it by the next meeting,
Yeah,
but unfortunately, everything I needed for
So-
this meeting, I pre-downloaded.
I wanna be careful that we don't,
I can't pull that.
I don't want.
I just couldn't hear what she said, she said it's not on conservation?
No, well, it's not,
It is though.
I wasn't saying it wasn't on conservation land, I'm saying this doesn't sound like a conservation issue.
It's work being performed in the buffer zone,
Well, it was work that we approved.
I got you.
But if it wasn't done properly, which is what you were saying, what
These
you've come to us
permits are
before about.
fluid, aren't they? If there's,
But that,
these permits are issued with the idea that they're fluid, if there's unforeseen like consequences and stuff like that, then there
Well-
adjustments have to be made.
if,
The position is that we approve this plan and that's it.
if the plan is
If this
approved
guy
to be,
trash your yard, then
if the plan is approved to do a certain amount of work, and a certain scope of work, a certain type of work, and it's not done properly, or something's done wrong in
I
violation.
know, I heard you
of the
say
plan,
that,
right, then there's an issue and it needs to be addressed in some
Been
way.
an issue for a year and a half.
I know, I was about to say that, and you've been here before, so I was about to say. What I'm saying is, we haven't done anything actively on this for
Yeah.
some time.
Yeah.
Both new members who are on here who have not heard anything about this, because
No,
they,
I know.
all right, so there's some stuff going
Yeah,
on.
but you gotta understand, I'm not happy about coming up here again, having to explain that.
I understand that, but you also have to understand if you come in,
Half ago, and nothing
Well,
was
it
done.
sounds like you said that the tree issue was being resolved through a civil.
You're
matter.
talking
So
about
is there
the-
another Issue,
no, you're talking about the trees on your property that were the issue.
Yeah,
is there another issue in the buffer zone?
yeah, that I previously reported, was
Alongside the
stormwater runoff
the hill.
coming down that hill, crossing over the sedimentation barrier into my yard, there's many of you. Like the fact that this was approved is kind of, I don't know, it was just a complete force. They can't-
Documented those issues and put them in like a little memo.
Yeah, which I've done, prior to Hannah Chase, like there were emails sent, there was correspondence between myself and Hannah Crawford.
Right, so we would have to extract that information, get that together. What I'm suggesting is if you want to come before the commission, so we know you're gonna be on the agenda as an item.
And Hannah, I tried to get on the agenda, I thought, like, and I had called you like 6 months.
Order of conditions.
And the last time I came up here, the plan was to send you the site
And
plan,
saying
like
it'll be
my
running
engineer's
close to it.
stamp plan with the site survey.
Right, and
Okay, so
I don't
we need
think
to
that's
state
something
that
that I've
first.
seen.
You said you didn't have time to do it. I thought that was, you said you
Was it
didn't.
the other Hannah, the other
Very
conservation?
confused.
Agent?
You said you didn't have time to do
But didn't have time to do what? What was I supposed to
it,
do?
to evaluate, come out there.
Did I say that I don't have time or I can't
You should
evaluate
pull up the
that?
video, you said you didn't have time to do it right now, because you're dealing with the Prospect Hill Village or whatever it was. I know you guys were very busy, so I was kind of happy that I came up here and you guys weren't busy, but.
I'm not.
Yeah, I mean,
sure
it's on
what you're
record, it's on record.
I'm
not-
not saying
yeah.
that, I'm just not sure what you're referring to, especially if it was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
If we haven't had correspondence since then,
Yeah, because you gotta understand, it kind of, nothing was going anywhere, nothing was getting done, I was bringing these issues to your attention and nothing was happening.
isn't it being resolved? Or I thought part of I'd talked to Rob about it and that part of it was being resolved through the civil matter. I thought that that was a significant portion of it.
Physical, like,
So you're 354,
no, I'm 340.
you're 340?
Yeah. So the other issue is whatever, you guys don't wanna talk about the trees.
Right here.
there's a stormwater management issue there where the backside of the sidewalk sits about 3 feet above my yard, right? And it's right on the property line. They're saying that they're gonna feather it out into my yard, which would redirect stormwater runoff back into my yard. I mean, if you look at the stormwater management plan, either the elevations were incorrect or I don't know, it wasn't properly evaluated. There's water backing up across the sedimentation barrier into my yard, which again, I previously reported. I don't know, it seems like every time I come up here, I don't know if it's because.
Stormwater, what you're describing, I think, is more of the stormwater area that's jurisdictional of the planning board. Because they would have approved the stormwater. plan.
That
But
is-
the sidewalk elevation, I'm just saying that that's not something, we don't review sidewalk elevations for stormwater drainage and things like that. So if we don't review it, we wouldn't know about that. That's one of the things I was gonna just ask you. Did you talk to Rob Lessier about that at all?
Said that was
I've been meeting since I've been here.
Okay, well, I'll have to have Hannah talk to him about it. Did that happen recently? Did you talk to him about the stormwater problem?
Happening since they conducted the grading, since the trees and bonds, they did.
A year ago, 6 months ago?
Like 2 years ago, at least.
When they started, but you said when they got done with the trees and so
Yeah, I
forth.
couldn't even tell you the last time, so sometime maybe in the spring,
So when did they put the sidewalks in?
sidewalks on it.
Oh, okay, so I said there was a sidewalk, that was elevation was.
He's rough grade, like he's rough graded, actually he's fine graded the road, and he has the rough grade of the sidewalk, so.
Rough grading is there, but not the sidewalk, so he's still working on that.
Still working.
Right, well, that's something where
Net trail.
I would need to double check with Rob, make sure I'm not misspeaking, but I think that. If we talk to him about it, we're clear on exactly what was being involved in the grading issue along the sidewalk, and he would probably maybe change the statement that it's not the conservation, I mean, that's conservation, because I've never in 15 years dealt with sidewalks and drainage issues along that one, what you're talking about there.
It's the backside of the sidewalk,
Well,
in the buffer zone.
but the determining the elevation of the sidewalk, we would never do
No,
that.
I
in
know.
conservation.
So,
So,
Mike,
but does it,
yeah.
Anna's gonna bring the site plan up.
I mean, it would just be helpful if there was a landscape plan.
I think it's-
I know that's not, you guys don't do the landscape plan, but you still don't have a landscape plan, so here we are, almost.
The developer's supposed to have the landscape plan and doesn't.
It's a requirement.
Right, and they don't.
They allowed the project to proceed without a landscape plan.
Go back.
That's part of the issue.
That's his house, right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that,
You know,
That's
I
the
think
drawing.
someone previously said to me like, well, we wouldn't tell the homeowners, we're not talking about daisies and mulch, we're talking about. You know, elevations along the property line, you got an 8-foot grade change there. The whole thing is kind of bonkers, to be honest, but at this point, the road's about to go in, just wanna figure out these minor issues.
I don't
So
think
this
we
is the
have,
area you're talking about in terms of the stormwater. Oh, sorry, I didn't share it. And I do believe Rob and I went out to that location.
Recently?
Yeah, well, in the last 2 months,
Yeah,
I think. Since the
I
last
think-
time you attended a meeting.
yeah, I thought they said they were gonna beef up the sedimentation barrier, right? That was, I think, what
I'm
was,
not sure. I think
Yeah.
deferred to Rob.
everything's kind of being done over phone calls too.
so. Is it this corner where the,
Actually, about halfway down the property line where the road kind of, you see that little elbow there where like the road comes the closest to my property?
yeah,
Right in there, that's at like roughly the bottom of that, that earth berm, I guess you would call it, that. Where the,
right along here?
yeah, where those tall trees
I
are.
remember those pictures.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think I've been pretty gracious like throughout this whole thing. I mean, I don't know what else I can do if there's
well,
gonna.
so just pause there for a minute, because I don't believe we have any open items on this matter. I'm trying to remember. Because
There's
you
a
were,
little bit
you were
more
last
information.
here 4 months ago.
Yeah, and the way we left it was like the property damage thing. Which I'd stated was part of his order of conditions. I was asked to submit. My engineered stamp plan, right, my plot survey, which I paid for. And the locations of the trees, which were on there, which the survey.
You were asked to submit that to who?
Us.
The
Conservation or to planning or
To
to the
commission.
town in general?
commission, yeah. I might have the email here, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I sent it to,
Originally, we were trying to help him determine what was on his, because he was claiming it was on his property, the other property owner was claiming it was on his property, and we were like, well, we can't make that determination. The only way to make that determination is to pay a land surveyor.
Right. I kind of remember that, and the property damage you're referring to is the trees that were cut on your property.
Well, one of them was crushed. One of them was crushed by the Bellingham company. The other
Right.
One was,
And that's the one that fell into your yard.
that fell into the wetlands, and that's kind of the other part. I mean, I really don't wanna talk about those, cause they're gone. That looks like it's gonna get.
But that's the thing you're talking about was being resolved by a civil issue,
Yeah,
civil court, okay?
yeah.
Because that's your property, the guy did something on your property that wasn't in the wetlands area necessarily, that he did it, the trees were cut, may have, so. even
My
though one fell
whole
in-
yard is in the my whole yard is in the buffer. But the other question is, so when that, 100-foot pine came down, it took out, and this is like, you couldn't make this up, it took out his wetland delineation markers. So my question would be, other part of his order of conditions are to maintain those markers, so if we could at least at a minimum reestablish those markers. And maybe I talked to land planning myself, I was gonna have him come out.
Like, that's definitely something I can follow up
Yeah,
with them.
so I was gonna have, Bill from land planning come out and, just kind of give me an idea of what we should do here, then meet with Tim and try to come up with some common ground. Trying to be diplomatic, with the whole thing, but I just, again, I haven't gotten any answers to this point.
So Mike, but we don't have an open hearing with this gentleman.
Right.
He's here on an information basis, trying to seek help to get resolution for a project that has encroached in some fashion onto his land or indirectly onto his land because they disturbed the tree that bled into his land.
That's one issue, and then further up the hill on the road where the embankment was cut deeply, and we saw pictures of pines, you showed us, I remember those, where the roots are exposed and sticking out, they cut deeply, and they didn't do anything to maintain, stabilize those, and he's concerned about those coming down.
Sounds like there's a discharge issue too with site discharge going into buffer and or the actual DPW.
You remember the sidewalk rough grade that he was just referring to, yeah, so the sidewalk grading stormwater issue, which I didn't remember as an issue before, I did remember the trees pretty
Gonna
good.
materialize later.
Yeah, seriously, yeah, as they got closer to grading, rough grading the sidewalks, okay.
It's probably because of all the rain we've had.
Yes, that,
Few
that
months.
too. So the top of the hill where the trees are cut, even though that's not on your property, or part of it is, but part of it isn't. Right around there is the property line, right at the top.
So what do we do? Do we get Tim and Rob in and start a hearing, have a conversation? How do we move this forward?
I mean, we could set it as a conversational piece on the agenda and list it as potential violations, like that's what it sounds like they are.
I
I mean,
mean,
let me just have Anna reach out to them and get back to us at the next meeting.
Them meaning,
Um, the building inspector.
so Tim and Rob.
That would be.
I think we should be talking to the site.
I mean, if you remember the,
Project.
I mean, I can, that's one thing that I definitely can do is I have to get out there to look at the replacement wetland as well.
yeah, I'm not like upset, I know you guys were really busy, I'm not like, oh, like.
If you could
Yeah.
like follow up via email
Yeah.
for some of the stuff, just cause I don't have
You
anything
gotta-
for reference.
I have a toddler at home, I have a job, like, I'm very busy too, I'd rather not be dealing with any of this, but unfortunately, like, this is the situation.
Every time you look out your window, you're dealing with it. Eventually, I'm sure
And again,
it's
it's dragging
frustrating
out.
for
We
you.
thought he'd have the road in, like,
Yeah.
we thought it'd be,
Who's the developer?
it's Tim Jones,
It is.
again, it's nothing against Tim.
Right, so just to be clear, when you said you wanted to meet with Tim and Rob, you meant Tim Jones, not Tim McCurry from the building department.
We were talking about that, but I was advised by my lawyer because of the civil matter not to do that.
Wait a minute, not to meet with Tim Jones and Rob Wilson.
Yeah. not to me.
Because you're using first names, and that's a problem, because you
Yeah.
referred to Steve, who was the.
Well,
not Steve,
everyone
but-
seems
but-
to know Tim Jones.
Well, there's another Tim that you could have been referring to, because you referred to Rob, and you said Tim, and I had assumed
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Tim and building inspector.
Yeah, Tim's a great guy, he's very knowledgeable.
But you didn't meet him, you meant Tim Jones, which is totally different now, my mind is suddenly.
Sorry.
I
No.
thought he meant
Yeah.
our Tim.
Yeah, he,
Sorry.
so he also did, so yeah, just to be clear, first names is,
Yeah.
is a little
Tim,
problem.
Tim Cardy made a correction in that area with the retaining wall because there was no spec on it, there was no detail for it. And
Right.
then he,
So the building department has gotten involved a little bit in that area
and
too.
now there is a detail as of, I think, like July of the you know, the following year, so I guess it would be
So-
July next year.
I don't think we want to have Tim Jones come out and necessarily deal with this at the
It's a
town.
very small
Well, if I
stipulation,
make
it's
it
a complete disaster, to be honest.
Like we,
Well, it's an open, there's an open order.
I know, but we're
Yeah,
always
but-
courteous to everyone.
Yeah, so we probably would notify Tim Jones if we go for a site walk or need to down the road, just a heads up to you, and you as well, because we're probably walking up by your house to see,
Right.
look at that at the same
I
time.
mean, I'm right around the corner from the.
So I think in information, because we don't have. Like, it's not a notice of intent or anything that you're applying for as an applicant for the property. You have one who I think continue to move something along, and I think the way to do this, as James was just suggesting, is to have. Us talk to Rob Lussier and Tim McCarty, if he sounds like there's anything that he has input for, it may be very limited, if it's just a section of the retaining wall, and he says that, you know, that's been resolved and he's good. That's one thing, but at least Rob, to see where he is with this at this moment, what he remembers, what's he involved in doing, what is he in the process of doing, so we aren't wasting effort. And then have you come in at, perhaps if we have a spot on the agenda, or time wise, we don't have a too full agenda, in 2 weeks at our next meeting and say.
Yeah.
We've talked to Rob, he's here tonight, whatever, this is where we are, this end devote some time to try to catch up. In the meantime, I think it'd be helpful. Both for some of our commission members who are new and want to get up to speed on this as well, some of them refresh our memories, because you said it's been going for a while.
Yeah, I know, sorry, sometimes I.
No, that's fine,
Everyone remembers.
we want to get some people up to speed, so we have a discussion that's fruitful and not have some of the members, especially the newest ones, saying, what the heck are they talking about? Because we haven't been to the site, we don't know about, we didn't see the pictures. And we're not gonna do that tonight, but to do that on a planned basis.
Yeah,
So,
and like,
Me-
again, I'm not like anti-construction, I have like people who live in the neighborhood who I know, they ask me like, what the hell's going on out there? I'm like, I don't know, I wish I knew.
oh, and you,
I would recommend taking, this is gonna sound frustrating,
Yeah.
so bear with me.
Yeah.
I would recommend taking every communication you've had with both Hannahs,
Yeah,
compiling it into one email. And resending it all to Hannah at once.
In chronological order.
okay.
So that way, we at least have all the information
Again,
at our fingertips, as opposed to her having to go dig. Especially for stuff that half of it, she wasn't even here for.
I think, previously, just in respect to the trees, maybe the town's hands were tied because of who the applicant was. Now that there's a new arborist, I don't know if they can come out and do an evaluation. I would be satisfied with that, just to have someone else look at it. And kind of,
I think that we have to be careful, and town arborists usually come if it's on town
It's
property.
not on town.
If it's on private property, we have to be a little cautious, even though there may be in this case. A reason for them to come out.
Just ask himself.
You
You
what?
don't have to ask him.
Oh.
He works for a different department, so you
Oh.
can just.
Yeah, but.
What
I
would you
think
want the
typically-
town arborist to look at specifically?
Yeah, I think you have to tell
They
them
know.
what the issue is. If you say, just come out, and look at my trees and tell
I
me what you
mean,
think.
he'll know,
Okay.
like, he'll know by looking at it, what the issue is. It's not like he could stand there and.
Well, he may not even, what I'm saying is if you have to be pretty specific when you make a request for him to take time out to go do something for a citizen in town.
Yeah. I know.
So just say, we have an issue with trees, they've been clearing along here, been toying the conservation, whatever, and then let him, if you can get him to come out on your own, that's fine. That would probably be a prudent thing to do. If he's new in the DPW and or as an arborist, he may be.
Is it Tommy?
And again, this is,
Is it Tommy?
Yeah,
Or DPW.
But I don't think they typically do anything
They
with
don't-
public, other
they don't-
than.
Is he the tree
public
warden or an
shade
arborist?
trees. Yes, he's the tree warden,
Okay.
he's not an arborist.
Again,
He's-
for the,
Who's the new guy with DPW?
I can,
That's-
it's the
that's
problem
Tommy,
with the tree,
and
I
he's the
can
tree
imagine.
warden, but he's. It's
He's also-
public shade trees,
He's
so it
also
wouldn't really be
a
a situation
DPW
where he would.
Tree
go
warden
out.
thing is like.
but he does participate according to the definitive subdivision approval, right?
But that's
He's
just part of the
deciding which,
planning process, right?
yeah, I know,
Like,
but again,
it's also part
but
of
this is,
the subdivision
but this is
process.
inside buffer zone, so doesn't the conservation commission have interest there? And you can go work inside the buffer, right?
Right, so if there's like an issue, like if there is a violation that we can point to and like enforce, that's something we can do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I don't think we can request that the tree warden come out to the private property to investigate that.
Just public shade trees, chapter 87, Massachusetts state law.
Right, so
He does participate in planning and development, that's, it's not a theory, like, he does.
No, he participates on behalf of the town, informing the planning board during their site plan.
Yeah, it's a
decision.
required site meeting.
Once that's done,
Yeah.
his involvement in the planning process.
We know that site meeting never happens.
No, site plan
Yeah.
approval for the project,
Back in the
not
day.
a, not a physical site.
There is a required site meeting.
For the planning board potentially.
Yeah.
I don't believe the tree warden is required to go out on site. So the tree warden is informing the planning board to help make their decision easier.
Yeah,
He doesn't get involved in private party.
I don't know, man. I read the peer review, it's in the peer review, it says, right in the peer review, has applicant conducted site meeting, DPW, tree warden, blah, blah, blah. It says right in the peer review.
I think the best.
That sounds like a question.
Yeah, getting that information.
I don't remember seeing that.
Just start with-
I don't even remember the period, it's been so long, so I'm
No,
not
I-
disagreeing with you saying, but having being able to see that would help inform us a lot.
So I think the issue is, there was no evaluation done because person obtaining the permits was the tree warden.
Like, I know personally, like, I'm new, so I'd love to see as much information as I can to get context to be able to
Yeah.
help you, you know?
And the,
Yeah,
and the power we have,
Just like-
and we've used it very much in the past, that if we notice there's a violation of a permit, we issue a violation. So that's why I'd recommend getting all the information to Hannah in one bucket.
Yeah.
And then if we say, oh yeah, that tree should not have been cut, because that's in the buffer zone and it wasn't, it's past the limit of disturbance, that's an easy thing for us to say, that's a violation.
Yeah.
Right now, it's anecdotal. So we can't go do police power and say, you have to fix this,
And
and we can't point to anything.
I gotcha. But you guys did approve the grading, right? You approved,
No,
no?
that's
you guys-
planning.
Yeah, even though it's in the buffer zone, but you have that drastic grade change in the buffer zone?
Most towns, the way it works is planning board develops the site plan with the developer, they approve it, and then conservation says, okay, planning has approved of the overall grading and stormwater flow of the site. We're concerned with actual physical disturbance within the buffer zone or other resource area.
We actually don't engineer.
But I'm not
Yeah.
sure, and I'm not sure if we said we had any concerns back then in the review process. I just don't remember this project being permitted originally.
Yeah.
Not relative to the edges of his border, his property line. I
Yeah, it
don't-
just seemed like there's the consideration for the abutting property was kind of. Kind of lost, I guess.
Got lost, yeah. Well, but
Like you have all that space between my house and my neighbor's house, and the best place to put the road is directly on the property line.
that, yeah.
Can't change anything that's happened, but I think moving forward, that would be a good plan to get concerns heard.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's some new players involved. Pam and Nicole are new on the board. James and Steve are both here around then because we recall this, some of the stuff when you came just before. As far as how much further back after the problem started happening with you, how much further back in time that was that the project actually started and was permitted. I'd have to look at the records and
Yeah,
between you and Hannah, we can dig that information up. We need to find out when it was really permanent. If there are violations, as James said, we can perhaps even now at this point in time act on it, especially since the development.
You're asking for forward progress. We're trying to get that for you.
yeah, I mean, even as far as like, the trees that were removed beyond the line of clearing. They're gone, dude. Like, I don't wanna be absorbing huge costs to maintain these trees that have had their roots cut out. They're a hazard, they're a potential hazard for the roadway. I mean, I'm not really asking for anything grand here.
What is the status of the civil? Can we ask that?
I'd be happy,
I mean, we can just, I would advise them not to tell us.
Okay.
I'd be happy to discuss it with you in private.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably better not to at this point in time
Right,
to potentially avoid any conflict or impropriety or issue. Okay, so you've got Hannah's information, she's got yours, and you're gonna send her that stuff if you can, as James suggested, as soon as you can.
Yeah.
And, since we're gonna make it not an official hearing
Yeah.
at this point in time, but an informational meeting.
Yep.
Plan on coming to the next meeting and keep in touch with Hannah as far as, that it's definitely, we've got a spot on the agenda and on time in the meeting.
Yeah.
Probably at the end like this, after we do the formal hearings that are scheduled, to bring up and see where we are with this and see if we can make some more forward progress. And hopefully you don't have to go through a long waiting period before
Yeah,
something
I'm
happens.
just out there minding my business. I'm not like, kind of.
Business up.
You're fine. Let's just.
All right.
Thank you,
guys.
thank you,
Yeah.
Dan. Thanks for
The
coming in.
next meeting is the 26th.
All right.
24th.
24th.
I'll send you all that information.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Probably see you again on the 24th then.
All right.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
When you send the information, you just put it in order.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, rough.
I know, I told Rob too, I need to consolidate, I just don't have time to do it.
I hear you, toddler.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks.
This meeting.
All in favor? Aye.
Uh,
Alright. Oh, second, yeah, Ariana seconded, I could read her pulsing the sense of seconding. Like, that's good. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, thanks, everybody.
I'm sitting in Neil's chairs. No.
No.
So I got my appendix out. I now need to get my gallbladder out. I'm scheduled for October 8th. I don't know if I'm gonna, oh shit. Oh, well, I don't know if I'll make it till then. I don't feel good.